I'm Emily Darlington. I'm one of these newbies everybody keeps talking about. I don't feel that new, and because it's only been 2 weeks, but it feels exhausting and I feel like we've been there. I think my job tonight is to encourage all the women in the room who aren't yet MPs to become MPs. But before I do that, I just want to share my menopause experience. So that spiraling anxiety, catastrophizing started when I was a councillor and cabinet member during COVID. And my job was to make sure that the rubbish was still collected, that the graves were dug, and that the highway, potholes and everything kept going, and people were still there to answer the phones. And so I naturally thought this was just a part of COVID. So I called the doctor, because we couldn't see the doctor, and the doctor said, sure, yeah, here's some anti-anxiety pills. Yeah, it's COVID, it's very, very common. About a couple of years later, honestly, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was like a red river had opened and it would not stop. And I went to the doctor and they said, well, you probably have iron deficiency with all that bleeding. We'll give you some iron and perhaps some B12 injections. No point did they say maybe this is part of menopause. And then when finally they did, they said, you must see a consultant because you clot too much. So you must go see a consultant. I waited patiently. I'm now the cabinet member for health. And I'm going, right, I'll just wait for that consultant appointment. Finally, at one of the health and wellbeing board meetings, I did something I never did before, leaned over to Joe Harrison, who's the chief exec of the hospital. And I said, look, I've been waiting 18 months. Can you just find out where I am on the wait list? And he called me up a couple of hours later and he said, Emily, I had no idea. There is 2-year backlog on this. And because the Department of Health doesn't ask us for these stats, I had no idea as chief exec because it's not the regular stats I look at. So we are now having a weekly Friday, what do they call it? See, this is... No, not a meeting. A clinic, a Friday clinic, a gynecological Friday clinic at the hospital, and we're going to get through that backlog in 6 months. And he did. So to his benefit, he did, which has been fantastic. But this is why we need to advocate. And this is why we need women in Parliament. Yes. Because nobody's going to do it for us. No. I just came from a PLP meeting. Some very nice gentlemen said, the Modernisation Committee, this total Chatham House, I'm not going to say anything other than to say that somebody thought they were being helpful by saying what we need to talk about is more family-friendly practices because 46% of our PLP now are women. I was like, Some of those women aren't mums, and I'll tell you a hell of a lot of those men are dads. Yeah. Why are we doing this for the women? Yeah. So, this is why each and every one of you need to stand. And I don't care what you do instead. I stand for parent governor, if that's what you want to do. Stand for your parish council. Stand for your city council. Stand for parliament. Stand to be head of the UN. I don't care what you're standing for, but stand. And if you don't want to stand, find a woman that does and support her, because I'm not going to tell you it's a nice experience. We get at least double the amount of abuse that our male colleagues do. And if you're a BME woman, it will be even more. And it's awful. I had police having to come to each and every one of my events because I had a man from the right fixated on me who, did hour-long Facebook Live interviews to rants to about 6 people, also on the far right, about how I was the worst person in the world and I should be taken down. Still does them. This is what you'll experience. But the only way we change that is to not let them shut us up. Exactly. To turn our environments into good environments. And if anybody can get air conditioning into the House of Commons, please, because every room is boiling. They told me it's going to be cold in the winter. I am looking forward to it. But we're all We need those voices, and we need them from each and every community. It's not good enough if our women's PLP is much more diverse than it's been before, but it's not reflective of the diversity of our country yet. And so we need people from those different communities coming up. So that's all I'm going to leave you with. It's a fantastic privilege to be an MP, and nobody can advocate better for women than women themselves. So do it.